is happening, everyone? Welcome to Sample 9 of the Recrap. I am your host, Lavatory Lindsey, and that is my lovely co-host over there, Tara Pterodactyl. What is crappin', Tara?
Hey, how is it going?
Yeah, pretty good. Well, no, not great.
I haven't seen you in forever.
I know. I feel like every time we have this much of a break in between recording, I forget what I'm doing.
Yeah. I saw you at the Cigna. Not the Cigna. It's the, what's it called now?
Elliot. Yeah.
The Elliot.
Yeah.
Corporate 5K.
Yes.
So.
The store, the very sore reminder that I have let running take such a far backseat in my life that
it's okay. You're in the good season for that because this summer has been so miserable and hot. Mm-hmm. So we're it actually was like cold out this morning. I had to put a sweatshirt on to go walk my dog. So we're getting into the fun run season. I love fall.
I do too. I mean, I love it for running. It just makes me sad when summer is over.
Yeah. So
it kind of flew by. So how was the 10 miler?
Oh, the 10 miler was such a blast. I was like, I could not be more proud of Eric and Erica when we walked up and they had their own little like booth. We were trying to figure out what to call it. We're like a table or a booth, or they had their own little tent with their banner. And it was just so cool because I feel like I've been around since the beginning of, when they started this. And then just to see, I was like, I'm here for the ride. I was like, I don't need to be anybody on this podcast, but I love being a part of it and seeing them grow. So it was just so cool. And it was such a fun day. We missed you. But the race, sucked per usual. But the hills just eat my soul every time.
I'm so sad that because it's the last time. And I'm sad I couldn't make it. And even if I could, I probably would have walked most of it.
Yeah, I walked a lot of it. Erica ran with me the whole time. And I think we walked up, actually, we were all together. We walked up that first hill at mile 4. And then I think I had to walk almost the entire 7th mile. Is that Spofford Hill? God, that hill just like murders my heart. Like, what is happening? But I mean, we still had a pretty good pace for all the walking we did. I think we ran like a 10. Oh, my official race was like a 10:15, which I was like, damn.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So, but we had fun. It was a blast per usual. And the after party was fun. Everything was great. But do you want to introduce our Sample 8 guest? I am like kind of in starstruck a little bit.
Are you going to be able to talk?
Maybe. I'll be blushing the whole time.
Are you going to be swooning the whole time?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, man. Our next guest, maybe we'll both be blushing. He's incredible. He's truly an incredible person. So inspirational. Probably the most positive human being I know. He's been through some shit and he has come out on top and he just pushes through. He doesn't let anything get him down. He runs all these crazy races. He had an insane run streak going on for almost 10 years. I think he just celebrated like 10 years of sobriety.
Yep.
Back in March, right?
Yeah, I think it was March. He can fill us in on that.
Yes. So we are so excited to be able to have Maurice, the Marathon Panda, joining us. Welcome to the Recrap, Mo. We're so excited that you are joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we just kind of want to catch up. I know you have been on. How many times have you been on the runs? Twice, yeah.
Twice, yeah. And then I did like a live phone call one time, and I was so glad I answered.
Oh, was that when Eric called you to tell that he loved you? Have a good night.
Yeah, but it was like I didn't want to miss his call, and then I was like, wait a second, is this like for the podcast?
I loved that. That was so much fun. So yeah, so we just want to catch up. You've been up to some epic shit per usual. Just a little background. I found you from On the Runs. I didn't know who you were. And then I immediately started following you because of your positivity. And I was talking about you earlier to, I coach a college golf team, and I was telling him, I was like, I'm recording a podcast later. And I go, and it's with the most positive person I have ever met in my entire life. And I was like, if I ever have like a minute of feeling like negative, I just go right to his Instagram and I'm like, yeah, what would Panda do? Yeah. So,
or just re-listen to the first On the Runs episode.
Yeah, I love to talk, so it's a privilege, it's an honor when people actually ask me to speak. So I can't thank you ladies enough for having me on. Eric is awesome. I've been inspired by Erica for for God knows how many years, and she's just so humble with all of her accomplishments. We ran a few ultras at the same time, and I just think she is so awesome. She has so much great energy, and that's the coolest thing about this community is because we get to meet, so many cool people. I'm the first one to be like, hey, look at me, listen to me, look at my story. But we all have stories. We all have a reason why we do these crazy things. We met on the Boston Marathon course and gave each other like live high fives. That was epic.
Yeah, you're hard to miss out there with that purple suit. Man, and the year, what was it, 24? 23. It was like 70 something. I saw you at like mile 3 and your suit was a different purple than when you started because it was so hot.
Just 3 miles in, yeah.
Somebody sent me a clip from a podcast. I think it was like the Believe in the Run podcast, which they're very established, and they had a few like for the race. And I guess the guys remembered me from Athletes Village. And so the clip on the podcast, these two guys talking back and forth, and they were like, "Do you remember that guy in the suit that was passing out the Poppy 5?" And then the other guy was like, "I bet you he made it to mile 3 before he took that suit off."
And
I was
surprise.
Like, "No, I bet he made it to like mile 10 before he took that suit off because it was so hot." My friend sent a message. He was like, "I know that guy, and he didn't take off the suit."
He did not.
I was going to just say, I started following you a long time ago because I don't know, I followed a bunch of other people on Instagram that were, had the same kind of positive attitude, were big into running. And somehow I came across your profile and I was like, oh, this guy is awesome. And so I was so excited when On the Runs had you on for the first time. And it's been such a pleasure to just get to know you better. But sorry, I had to interject that. My little humble brag now.
I think everybody knows Panda.
I think so.
Everybody does.
Definitely, especially around here too, like in, the Northeast.
You leave a lasting impression everywhere you go, which is a good thing. And it's going to make you, that's going to make you feel good. I mean, I know you do it. You the reasons that you do it are not for, like you don't do it for the look at me. You do it for like, the right reasons, which I love.
Not just, hey, look at me. It's, hey, look what you can do. And like the quick, like per se, elevated things. Like, so my name's Maurice. I'm from East Providence, Rhode Island, currently living in Providence. I was introduced to the running community about 11 years ago, and I was so embraced and so infatuated with the community aspect. It was all brand new to me, and it came at a time where I needed it to be the biggest tool in my sobriety toolbox. So as somebody coming from like the darkest corners, like incarceration, being homeless, hardcore drug addiction, and I found running as my go-to exercise. When I became super consistent with it, I found the community, did my first half marathon, and just became so infatuated with the community. So for the past 11 years, I've remained super active, not only being Mr. High Fives and Positive Vibes, but being a cheerleader for everybody, because you get to meet so many cool people, and I can't say it enough. I want to talk about my story to anybody that wants to listen, but we all have stories. So not only has it helped keep me sober, it's helped me meet so many cool people. There's a piece to the story where I was reunited with my adult son, who I hadn't seen in over 18 years, and we did a 5K together the first time that we saw each other in 18 years. We ended up doing a marathon together. And the running, my social media, he found me, and his fiance, now wife, was like, "Hey, there's your dad. Like, you need to reach out to him. This guy's doing some awesome stuff, and he's not going to say no when you ask him if it's okay to meet." And like that story, I could talk hours about it, but it's just crazy how much running has done for me. So yes, it's kept me sober. Yes, it's helped me meet so many cool people. But like being reunited with my adult son, just opening doors continuously. I get to raise money for charity. I love. I've traveled because of it. I always say things like I have all these mantras, like running has gifted me a higher quality of life. And the coolest thing about running is I say it all the time. Like, if I love the Boston Celtics, they're not going to open the garden and play with the Celtics. But I love running, and I get to run on the same course on the same day as like the elites and the professionals. I'm not a former Division I athlete. Like, you're a college coach, you're around college athletes all the time. Like, there are some people that compete at a very high level out there. I'm not one of them. But to be included and then to have my own role where like one of the things that fires me up the most when like a man or a woman that like competes at a high level is like, hey, Maurice, you're awesome. I love your positivity. I love the run streak. The run streak thing of the past, but that stuff fires me up. It's fuel for the journey to know that I want to be able to without being darkness for so long. It's like a gift. Like I feel like it's my duty to show people what you can do with positive attitude, with consistent change. Just like never stop believing in yourself. I never want it to be like just about addiction or just about running. It's about the whole big picture where no matter what you're going through, you can get to the other side of it as long as you never stop believing in yourself and you take that next right step. It's not going to be easy. Like I have examples for days about things that just seem insurmountable, but I applied that like marathon training mindset, like just do it little by little, celebrate the small wins. Like, how am I going to run 26 miles? Well, how am I going to pay off all this debt? How am I going to get this job? How am I going to get this apartment? How am I going to stay clean? How am I going to get reunited with my family? Well, it happens when you're doing the right thing day by day by day by day. And that's what the running, specifically the street for so long, did for me. It gave me that accountability and that structure.
That's awesome. That's such a great story. And I think
that was longer than an elevator.
No, that was great.
That's great. Lindsey and I, before you hopped on, we were like, we're just going to let Mo talk the whole time because you're a performer.
We don't even really need to ask him questions.
You could just take this over and it's just, we could listen to you talk all day. But the addiction piece, I think every single person in this world knows somebody close to them that has struggled with addiction. I myself, I have an older sister who was a heroin addict. She's sober, but it's nice to see that people can change, and the change that you made is like incredible. Like it's just awesome. So like you give a lot of people hope, and I just think that that's so inspiring. So keep doing what you're doing. It's awesome. I love it.
Congrats to your sister, and thank you for sharing that. And I do love to know that because I was the person that, friends and family would look at and be like, we love you, Mo, but we don't think you're going to change. Like this is over and over again that you're making a mistake. So to finally find something that gave me, it's a healthy new habit. And when you replace old habits with good ones, good things happen. So to be addicted to running and community and social media is much more healthy than being addicted to drugs and alcohol and the street life and so forth. So I'm just so grateful that I was able to make it out. And I want to share that hope. I want to share that light for somebody that's still struggling, for somebody that has a family member that's struggling. I have stories like a woman reached out to me one time and was like, the fact that you're so open and transparent about your street life and your addiction and your hardcore substance abuse helped me have a conversation with my brother, who I know is using, but won't talk to the family about it. I showed him your page. I showed him one of your posts, how you talk about it. Now we're having that conversation. And I don't know how long he stayed sober, but it allowed her to kind of take him along the first few steps of like getting clean and admitting that he had a problem. And this is somebody across the country that like, just to think that I made that kind of impact or delivered that kind of hope, it means a lot to me.
That's awesome. Do you get messages like that pretty often where people say, you've helped me, or you helped a family member, or you whatever, open the doors for...
I would say once in a while, you get to meet a lot of people that have similar stories and similar journeys. And they're like, I love your attitude. I love that you're open about it. I haven't had a drink in 3 years. I love following your stuff. It just lets me know that like the long-term stuff is out there. And that's one of the biggest pieces of the messages. When somebody is trying to make that decision to have a better life, it's almost like, where do I go? What do I do? How am I going to get a job? How am I going to get my family back? How am I going to get an apartment? Like I have nothing. I want to show people that you can come from the rock bottom, from nothing, and there is light at the end of the tunnel, not to sound too cliche, because it's hard. When you're 1 week clean, when you're 2 weeks clean, when you're 2 months clean, you don't know the answers to all those questions. So I'm very proud and grateful for the long-term sobriety and I'm literally living a life that I only dreamed about when I was on the streets. I said this in a previous interview. I knew that I wanted to get back into sales. And I knew that I wanted to run. And I had this vision of like selling cars and running marathons, but I was a homeless drug addict with no driver's license. So it was such a far cry from reality. It was such a far stretch. But I knew, okay, what's the number one thing you need to do? Stop drinking and drugging, then get a job. Then, so I put all those pieces together, and it took a long period of time. It was 3 years into my sobriety before I even had my driver's license back and was able to apply at, a car dealership. So fast forward, and now I'm like the face of the dealership. I do the advertising. I'm always in the top conversation for sales. And I never want to take the gratitude piece away from that. Like, I'm the guy that walks in and I'm like, happy Monday. And they're like, what do you mean happy Monday? Like, what's happy about it? And I'm like, it's way better than it could be. Like, believe me.
Right.
I bet you sell a lot of cars.
I'd buy a car from you in a heartbeat. I was going to say, I'd buy anything from you.
And I'm very grateful for that too, because like I'm inspired and influenced by so many people on social media. I use it as a positive tool. We could all talk about how there's some negative pieces to it, but if you use it as a positive tool, it's great. And I grab inspiration, I grab influence from so many people. And I remember reading once, as far as like on a professional level, that it's very difficult for you to mix your personal life and your professional life and have it be a success. I'm so fortunate to be known as like the Marathon Panda that sells cars. And I have people from like the community that come in to see me just because it's me. And like, I'm so grateful for that. Like, to be at a local race and have like 5 friends and they're like, I love my car. I got it from you. And I'm like, it's so cool.
That's awesome.
I'm going to travel down to Rhode Island and get a car.
Right?
No, I need one.
They have taxes down there.
Oh, that's true.
We don't have taxes up here.
Well, we're red. New Hampshire, and you don't have to pay taxes.
Yeah. So there's a couple things, that we wanted to chat about specifically. Obviously, we could talk with you all night. But one thing that I really wanted to touch on was your run streak. I know it was amazing. It's still amazing, but it ended. And how did that like hit you mentally, physically? Like, were you upset? I mean, you weren't upset because you're never upset. But just talk about that. And are you starting a new streak?
Haven't started a new streak yet. So I do love that question. So I had been actively running, including half marathons and marathons. I had been tracking my mileage. I had the apps. I was pretty, I had just started to use social media. And my son's stepdad at Thanksgiving was like, hey, you should do a run streak. You should do a 100-day run streak. So this is back in 2015. Okay, so 10 years ago. And he's like, you should do a 100-day run streak. It'll help keep you accountable. You have to run every day, no matter what. I just finished. I feel great. And I didn't want to be arrogant. I didn't want to be like Mr. One-Up and say like, oh, like, that's easy. I already do that. But part of me did want to be that guy because I'm like, I already do that. So I said, I'm going to start on January 1st, 2016. I'm going to run outside every single day. And he's like, whoa, outside? He's like, what about the snow? What about the bad weather? And I'm like, well, that's the whole point. Like, anybody can run on a treadmill when it's bad weather. And I've also matured to the fact that like, there's a lot of benefits to treadmill running if you're raising a family, if you're working crazy hours, if your neighborhood's unsafe. I get all that. So I'm not naive or ignorant to that. But my thing was, I'm going to make these runs all outside, no matter what. So January 1st, 2016, I start this streak. And I'm not the only one. There's people with like streaks that are decades old. But I was pretty proud of mine, if you couldn't tell by how many times I talked about it. So starting January 1st, 2016. It was a leap year. So at the end of the year, I already had 366 days. I obviously went past the 100 mark and just kept going. So when I had the 366, I was like, I got to keep going. And then I celebrated each year with this local half marathon on New Year's Eve. That to me was a celebration of my sobriety, because on New Year's Day, I'm waking up ready to run a half marathon and not waking up hungover or like coming off a bender from using. So there was a few pieces to this run streak that was super important to me. And I was really grateful to keep it going. So fast forward, I was 9.5 years into the streak. And about 2.5 months ago, I was on a routine, like just recovery 3-mile run in the morning, twisted my ankle, and it ended up being a sprain. And it was super difficult for me to own the fact that I was injured and that the streak was going to have to come to an end. So I pushed through pain for the first 2 or 3 days and did like 1 mile outside to keep the streak alive. But I was literally pushing through pain and discomfort, struggling to do like a power walk jog. So I went to urgent care, went to my primary, went to a specialist, and in the span of 3 days, I had 3 separate doctors that were like, listen, we get it. You love to run. We're the doctors. We meet runners all the time. The number one problem is they don't want to stop. You have to stop. Like, you have to stay off. You have to rest. You'll never recover completely. So the conversation started happening like, do I become the guy that says, I never missed a day of outside running, but I have this lingering injury and I can't sign up for races anymore? Or do I wake up tomorrow, the streak's over, I'm upset, I embrace that and kind of move on? So I made the decision to end the streak. And there was moments of being upset, being sad, kind of questioning my my identity, you know, like, because the streak meant so much to me. The positive feedback that I received from, especially specifically the Instagram and Facebook community, the positive feedback that was like, Maurice, this is just as inspiring that you're admitting that you're hurt and that you had to end the streak. I can't call myself Mr. Discipline and then not be disciplined when it matters the most. Somebody sent me a quote that said, a real runner knows when not to run. And then I had these messages that were like, you've come so far, you've grown so much, you've done so much, you've built a community, you're hooked up with different brands. Like, look at all the things you've done in the last 9.5 years. Just because the streak is over, nobody can take that stuff away from you. Like, I have ultra marathon finishes, I have marathon finishes, I've raised money for charity, I've had community events where 100 people have shown up just to show support for the Marathon Panda that talks about recovery and addiction and consistency and positivity. So those were the things that allowed me to be like, okay, that chapter's over. This is the new chapter. And I've really, really embraced the rest days. I've embraced the lower stress level of like coming home from work and not having to go outside for 20 or 30 minutes. And it helps me kind of embrace that maturity and into that next chapter. But to answer your question, like directly there, I was pretty upset. Especially because, you know, for 9.5 years, I never got injured. And people used to say, how do you do it? Like, don't get me wrong. There were times where I had like little nagging things, but nothing crazy that would pull me from the road. And this time it did. And my buddy, my good friend, Alex, who's also my PT, was like, not for nothing, you've been running for 11 years. This is the first time you've been injured. You're really fortunate. So once again, you can't call yourself Mr. Positive Panda and not be positive about everything. So I told myself, do the right thing, rest, recover. Less than a month later, I ran the Anchor Down Ultramarathon pain-free. And I mean, I didn't run 100 miles, but I ran 83 miles, and 83 is way better than 0. So it's something that I'm super grateful for. I do want to start a new streak. I'd probably up the minimum mileage. I would make sure it was still all outside because I love that piece of it. But it hasn't started yet. I'm still resting.
I love that. I'm a little envious of the rest piece because I am streaking right now and I'm outside too. I'm on day like 840 something, but I was injured. I had my back surgery and the only thing I could do was walk. So mine's a walk-run streak, but I do at least 1 mile outside every day. But
it counts. There were times where, like, especially after a big event or like you're super tired, I'm literally just power walking, jogging around the block for a mile to make sure the GPS hits a mile and I can count it.
But I do love the outdoor piece because it makes you a little bit more hardcore.
It does.
In the winter.
To me, it was
definitely during the winter.
The structure and the accountability helped me. So I got laid off from my first corporate sales job about 3.5 years into my sobriety, and I had already started the streak. And the very first thought I had was like, what am I going to do? Like, it hit me so hard that I lost my job because I didn't see it coming. But I had the running, I had the social media community. I knew I had people that counted on me to can be consistently positive, like I say I am. And that's what I always strive for, is to be true to what I preach. Like, preach what I practice and not the opposite. So I said, you can't not be positive just because you lost your job, but having something to lean on, going outside for a run, being able to post about it. And I get it. There's people that are like, oh, you can run and not post. But once again, if you use the social piece as a positive tool, there's a lot of positive feedback and there's a lot of social engagement that can be used as a benefit and not as something that's negative. And the same thing, like when I was dealing with grief, I'm repeating myself. I've said this on previous episodes, but like when we lost my son's mother, it's been 7 years now. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know how to process that grief, but I knew I could go for a run. And I went for a run that night, went for a run the next day, went for a run the next day. And having something to consistently lean on gave me that structure and gave me that routine where I was like, you're going to be able to get through this.
You're so inspiring. I'm just like speechless right now. So
I was so grateful that I had the long-term sobriety. So when the streak ended, like, thank goodness I didn't like turn to a liquor store, look for a drug dealer, like, because those are real thoughts, you know. Being 10 plus years sober, you still have crazy thoughts. I'm so firm and strong in my clean time that I wouldn't act on those thoughts, but you still have them. So it helps me be like, listen, you've come so far. Why would you do something so silly as to go pick up? Wait, you're not going to. So get that thought out of your head. So it's helped out a ton.
Yeah, that was my one thing about the streak ending. Because I mean, that's, like I said, it's, you know, it's not the end of the world, but it's something that you worked so hard at and it was so long and, you know, and it's, you know, a little bump in the road. So I just wasn't sure how that was for you mentally. So that's good to hear that, like, you turned it into a positive and looked at all the good things. And again, I commented on your post because I was like, that's awesome. You know, way to listen to yourself, because a lot of us runners do not. It's like, oh, what's this pain? I'll just run through it. And then it's like, oh, it was, now it's broken. Now I have to get my leg amputated.
Yeah,
it's okay.
It happened to me.
That really helped me was owning the maturity piece. Like, you say you've grown so much, then do the right thing, be mature, shut it down, and go on and let this thing heal. So
awesome.
So Alex was able to get you kind of back on your feet pretty quickly, huh?
He specializes in ankle sprains. So we used an aggressive PT treatment with needling and like an aggressive like tissue massage. And I was very fortunate that I was able to bounce back. I'm dealing with something right now where I'm probably just going to stop running for the next week or two just to make sure, because I have Chicago coming up in 6 weeks and I want to make sure I can toe the line for that. So it's almost like a blessing in disguise that I know how to rest and how to, like, the streak's not there, so I don't need to worry about it. I went for a bike ride today, went to the gym, I did yoga, so I'm obviously going to stay super active. That's the way my brain operates. I need to stay super active. And I love the fitness community. I do not want to be a part of it. But yeah, I have some pain in my foot and went to see him today and we decided we're going to shut it down for at least a week or so.
So tell us about Anchor Down. How did that go after being injured and everything?
It was my 4th consecutive year. I volunteered at that race 5 or 6 years ago with the suggestion from my run coach, Lori, and her now husband, Paul, who's an Anchor Down veteran. She's an ultramarathon veteran, having many...
Is that my Lori that gave me her Boston Marathon medal?
Yes.
I love her.
Yes, so she's incredible. And they were like, you should volunteer at this race, see what it's all about. And I went there. I only had like a 4-hour shift at like half of it at the aid station, the other half like just manning like one of the crosswalks where the runners go across a road that's kind of closed, but people could still be driving. And just seeing, I had run marathons before, but I had never really been around the ultra community. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, okay, there go the 6-hour runners. But these are the 24-hour runners, and they're not going to stop until tomorrow at 7 p.m. And I'm like, they're still going. So immediately I was like, I want to be one of those people. I want to be one of those people that someone says is crazy enough to run for 24 hours. And you have to run a 12-hour event to qualify. So I immediately signed up for a 12-hour event. I think I had a 50K experience at that point. I'd have to look back at my records. So I wasn't like totally, or I wasn't an ultra virgin, for lack of a better term. I think I had a little bit of experience, but I dove right in, signed up for a 12-hour, the hamster wheel, the dumbest race in New Hampshire. Absolutely loved that race. Did the 12-hour, qualified for Anchor Down, did my first Anchor Down, and ran 90 miles when the goal was like, the A goal was like 80 and the B goal was like 70. So to come away with 90, I was so pumped. And like the following year, I'm like, I'm getting 100, I'm getting 100, nothing's stopping me from getting 100. And I went out and I did 80. And you learn so much about yourself. And I have two 100-mile finishes. My first one was Javelina in Arizona. My second one was Daytona in Florida. And you learn so much about yourself and those were 30-hour cutoffs. So it took me 28 hours to finish. And I'm so proud of those 2 buckles. And we can talk about that in a minute, because I want 4 buckles so I can apply to Badwater one day.
Yes, but I was going to ask you about that.
Ooh, I'm in a crew. I'm in for crewing.
Yes. So you learn so much about yourself. I always, in my experience, between miles 40 and 70 or 40 and 60, I experienced like a lot of negative thoughts. Everything hurts, everything's sore, you're tired, you're doubting yourself. I'm like, you're not even at 50. How the heck are you going to get to 100? And then you start the self-doubt, the negative thoughts. And I have to remind myself that I wear shirts that say positivity always. So you can't say that and then not be positive. And the cool thing about these events is you're in these beautiful places. So when I was in Arizona, to see the sunrise in the desert, I'm like, when are you going to be in the Arizona desert with the sunrise, running through cactus and running with all these amazing runners? Like, you better snap out of this funk. You better keep moving. And by like mile 65, 70, I'm getting my momentum and the miles are clicking off. I'm starting to put together some good segments of running. And before you know it, you're at 80, 85, and you can run 15 miles. You ran 85. And that's what you tell yourself. I love the 100-mile distance because you really have to tap into yourself physically and mentally. The biggest motivator for me is like my mantra of running the streets that used to run me is I've been on the streets walking aimlessly with no place to go. So to be doing something positive with my body, with my health, with my sobriety, with the community, it's a gift. So I'm not going to quit at mile 60 when I have this opportunity to do something so beautiful, because I didn't quit when I was doing bad things. I mean, I eventually quit, but you know what I mean? Like when I was in that darkness, like nothing was stopping me from getting to the next liquor store or the next drug house. So I use that as motivation and fuel for the fire. Like, you did all this dumb stuff. Like, you can definitely do something that's cool. You can definitely do something that's positive. And that's my biggest motivator.
Do you find, so I've run a couple ultras, but nothing like what you do or what Erica does. Do you find in general that the ultra community, you see other like recovering addicts? Because I get the sense that there are a lot of people that are in the ultra community that have battled these addictions in the past and have overcome them. And I feel like that's almost like a driving force to keep going.
You do. And it's funny that you asked that. It's very, very common. Just recently, a friend was talking about me and my 24-hour event to her friend, who was like, he's a big time fitness trainer. He trains people at a very high level that compete in fitness competitions and so forth. And he like saw my social page quickly and heard a little bit about me doing this ultra. And he was like, let me ask you a question, if you don't mind. He was like, is he a former addict? He goes, I'm not trying to be rude. He goes, I just meet so many people that do these long distance endurance events, get into things like boxing, get into things like fighting, get into things like, high level bodybuilding and training, that were former addicts, because they're channeling that negative energy into something positive. And you find it so much in the ultra community, because it allows you, like, I was seeking a mind altering substance over and over and over again. It's almost like you're seeking this discomfort. I enjoy it so much. Like, and I love the questions when people are like, how do you do that? Like, I don't even like to drive that far. Like, how do you stay up for 24 hours? And how do you do it with no sleep? Like, I love it. And it's whether it's ego, whether it's whatever it is, it really helps fuel you. So to answer your question more directly, you meet a ton of people that are coming off of dealing with something crazy. A lot of times addiction, a lot of times grief. Maybe it was like they got out of a really bad domestic situation, or they're going through a divorce, or they were battling mental health. And that was the number one thing about running that captured me, is it gave me immediate confidence. So before I got clean and sober, backtrack to like 2005 and 6 and 7, running was my go-to outlet when I wanted to feel good about myself. If I had like a wanted to brush the dirt off my shoulders moment, it helped me build confidence, helped me feel good about myself, even if it was just for a short period of time, those 2 or 3 hours. And I didn't stay consistent with it because I was so actively using. But when I decided to make the long-term switch to a healthy, sober lifestyle, the running was the number one piece. And it just, now with the community, not to lose track, but it helped me. And I say it all the time, it's my number one tool, and the community is right there.
That's awesome. So fast forward to 2025, Anchor Down. You were going for the buckle.
Going for the buckle, but my training got sidetracked because I sprained my ankle. So I just shut it down for a couple of weeks, but still went into the race mentally and physically sharp. Like, I was ready. I really, really wanted to hit that goal. And I believed in myself that I could. 2024, I had a better first 12 hours. I think I did hit the 50-mile mark within 12 hours, even though we had the tropical storm. This year, I was a little behind pace, but I was still in the 40s. So it was still very attainable. I think I was in the high 40s. So it was still very attainable. It's tough because in hindsight, you're like, well, I should have done this. I should have done this. I was proud of myself that I took less breaks. I did not sit down more than twice. And when I sat down, it was like just to eat, drink, kind of regroup mentally. And I got right back up and kept moving. There just wasn't enough fast running after the 50 and 60-mile mark. But when I was at that 50 or 60-mile mark, I didn't even think I was going to get to 70. Like, the thought of 100 was like out the window just because I was falling so far behind. So to come home with 83, I'm very proud of that. Shout out to the guys and gals that get the 100-mile buckle. Alex got the 115. There were a couple of big numbers out there, and it's just so cool to see that. And it gives you something. I'm already fired up for next year. It just takes being a little bit faster and more efficient when you're super tired. There was a lot of power walking going on. That power walking needs to turn to jogging. I was really proud of myself at mile 70. I was able to throw down like 2 super fast miles. That people, Alex's dad was like, you were a crowd favorite. People were going nuts because I ran through the station without stopping. And they were like, he didn't even stop. He was going so fast. But it only lasted 2 miles. Now I know it gives you the confidence that your legs still work like that after 70 miles. So you need to translate that into just smarter, more efficient running at 70 miles plus, and kind of, run a marathon at a pretty decent pace to get to that 100-mile mark. I know I can do it because I've done it in 28 hours, but the ultimate goal is to get it in that 24-hour block.
So you have Chicago coming up next.
Yes.
And are you running for charity, right?
I am. So if anybody has the opportunity, they can check the link in my bio. I'm really fortunate. I'm with a very small and modest, it's a small and modest fundraising requirement, which I'm really grateful for, because everybody knows how hard it is to fundraise. And I've really matured in my role as a charity runner, and you can't listen to there's going to be, no matter what you're doing, there's going to be some negative talk out there. And there are people that talk negatively about charity runners at world majors, but you have to remember, these are people that are usually full-time employees, raising a family, and the fundraising piece is just as hard as the marathon training. And I don't want to be the guy that's like, hey, my name's Maurice, I run marathons, can I have some money? So I take a lot of pride and gratitude in the fact that these charities rely on people like us to raise funds and awareness on a special day, like Boston, like Chicago, like Sydney, like London, because no matter what you do for your full-time life, you've heard of the Chicago Marathon, you've heard of the Boston Marathon, so you get the significance of it. So people that care and have it's really it's a gift to be able to raise money and funds for a special cause, doing something that I love, and it allows me to put the ego in the back pocket for a little while and realize that there's such a bigger world out there. There are people that face, and that's the whole logic behind the suit. And I know I'm kind of going all over the place here, but just I love to talk about this. The logic behind the suit is there are people facing much bigger challenges on a day-to-day basis with their lives, whether it's raising a child with disabilities, whether it's, no matter what they're dealing with, those challenges are much bigger than me putting on a suit and running 26 miles. So yes, it's hey, look at me, I'm the guy running in a suit, but it's like, look why I'm doing it. I'm raising money for charity, whether it's a recovery and addiction awareness charity like the Awesome Heron Project, or right now I'm with Run for Autism for the Chicago Marathon. And it's a gift because these families rely on big events like this for folks to raise funds and awareness. So I'm really excited. Shout out to my friend Ashley, who gave me the opportunity to be part of the charity team. And the Chicago Marathon is going to be super special. Both of my sons are going to travel with me. My daughter-in-law got in with the lottery. It's going to be her first marathon. So we're going to make it a big family event. So shout out to Levi and Malik, my two sons, and then Dion, Malik's wife. She'll be running her first marathon. I'll get to be there with her, and it's going to be a ton of fun. And all my best friends are doing it. Tommy and Teddy and Rob and a bunch of the wave runners. So it's like the community. It's such a cool opportunity, and that's why I scream things like we get to do this, because and I know, and when I talk, it's from my own point of view. I never want to rub anybody the wrong way or sound ignorant, but one of the things that's a pet peeve to me is when folks like complain about world major marathons and like the logistics and stuff, and it kind of pokes me the wrong way, because we're so fortunate that we get to do this. Like, you can stay home. Like, you don't have to get up and complain about having to get up early and get on a shuttle bus or like wait in line or take a ferry or like, so yes, there's going to be crazy logistics involved, but you're in this world major city that's shut down for one day just for 30 or 40 or 50,000 people. And everybody trained their butt off to get there. Everybody has a story. Everybody has their why. And there's so much excitement going on. I want to shut off all the negative talk that people come up with about those things. And it's not to sound ignorant and to offend anybody.
I think you're totally right. I'm excited for you. You're making me so like I wish I was running it.
We get to do this. You got to stay super grateful. There's a lot of people that look at folks like us and say, I wish I could do something like that. So not only are we inspiring people, but that's where the mantra "Run for those that can't" came from. Obviously, there are people that are mentally or physically disabled or aren't emotionally available to do something like this. So the fact that we have all three boxes checked, that we're physically, mentally, and emotionally available to do something like afford to go to a world major marathon, be able to fundraise, be able to qualify. That's such a gift in itself. And I think the gift and the privilege should be celebrated, no matter how you got that bib. And I think that the other piece where like some of the social media people that are gifted bibs that are catching a bad rep, if somebody has respect and love for the community, then they deserve all the kudos as well. Do you know what I mean? It's only where if you show up and you don't respect and love the rules and the community, that somebody should be able to say something negative about your entry. And once again, these are just opinions from the Panda.
I'm right there with you. And I use your line that we get to do this. I use that a lot because, from somebody who had a very severe injury where I was down and out for 2 months, I was like, man, I would take back a shitty run right now if I could. Yeah. So whenever I'm out there now and I'm like, oh my God, this hurts, I'm like, I get to do this. I get to do this because there's a lot of people that wish they were in my shoes right now. So I love that line.
It's so true. And that's why, like, that's what made it easy for me to embrace the rest and recovery, because I don't want to be that guy that says, and I'm, once again, I'm not trying to sound ignorant. I don't want to be somebody that says, well, I used to run, but I didn't listen to my doctor. And now, and then the other piece is there are people that will never be able to run that look at us and they're like, look how fortunate they are. So that's where that kind of fire comes from when I'm, don't talk negative about marathon entries. Because you can't, you shouldn't.
So for Chicago, do you have a goal, or are you going to be running with your daughter-in-law the whole time, or your friends, or what's your plan?
So the goal, like, to put numbers on it, the goal a few months back was to have it be a PR race and run a 3:39 marathon, which is like an 8:30 pace. That would be, my current PR is 3:41. So that goal has been adjusted. I'll be very happy with, especially having to shut down the running right now for a couple of weeks. I'll be very happy with the sub 4. I'll be very happy with any 4.5 hour finish. I don't want to, I've learned that it's much more than a number on the clock. Do I want to run a marathon PR again? Yes. Heck yes. Like heck yes. But it might not be in 6 weeks. It might be in 6 months. So, I'm being Mr. Mature and saying, like, let's have fun. Let's toe the line healthy and strong. And any number on that clock will get me a medal. And that's the goal. So to answer your question, it was 3:39, then it was 3:45. 3:59 would be awesome. But I'm not going to be sad if it's like a 4:30.
Yeah.
There's also so many factors too. Like, I mean, the weather, you could have some code browns. I hope that, knock on wood, that's not.
No, I've been pretty lucky with that. I mean, I'm the guy that like is like the poster boy for don't do anything new on race day and then go and do it. I was like 27 marathons in, and I signed up for a marathon and ate like a pound of steamers and fried clams like the night before the marathon.
Oh God.
So, Eric, there was a couple of code browns on marathon morning.
I would think so.
So great for clean out houses, but I was like, wait, people are probably at like mile 7, and I'm still in the bathroom. That's my code brown for this episode. So no fried clams and steamers.
No fisherman's platter the night before a marathon.
Yes.
Got it.
Heard.
Another time I bought these shorts that like matched my sneakers because I thought they looked really cool, and I had never ran in them. Ooh. And I'd start off the race and I'm like, oh, these aren't running shorts. So it was like no movement. And I think it cost me a 3:59 that day. I ran a 4.
How was the chafing on that after?
A lot of chafing.
Oh man.
The shorts looked awesome.
Oh. I looked so cool.
It hurt, but I looked so good.
But I should have did like a race dress rehearsal like you're supposed to do.
Yes.
So now I do kind of, do the right thing and make sure I'm wearing something comfortable. And I mean, the suit's comfortable.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So another thing you're going for in Chicago is your 3rd star?
Yes. So Boston, New York, and now Chicago. So now I have to become international. I have to be International Panda next year.
International
Absolutely.
Panda. And get a 4th star. So the big goal, and a lot of people have these goals. I do want to run Badwater one day. I do want to be a 7-7 finisher. Shout out to like people like Becca Pizzi. I also have a client at work. He's now a friend. His name's Nick. Super humble, super quiet, super under the radar. We just started talking one day at work when he was getting his car fixed. And obviously I was talking about running. I mean, I don't know if you can believe that or not, but I was talking about running, and he's like, oh yeah, I did the 7-7. And I was like, wait, what?
just casually drops it.
I was like, you did what? He's like, oh yeah, 7 marathons, 7 continents, 7 days. I'm like, you mean the Great World Race? I was like, you've done it? So he tells me, and he shows me the pictures, and he tells me about Antarctica, and Asia and Miami. And I'm like, that is so crazy. Like I would have a tattoo that says, "Have I told you about the great road, the great road?"
Ask me about my 7x7.
Yeah, 7x7. Did I tell you about the 7 and 7? So that's a huge goal. I met the director and at the Boston Marathon weekend this past year. Super cool, down to earth guy. His name's skipping me right now, but like he gave me like his phone number and was like, follow us on social, shoot me a message. My big goal is to, raise some money for charity, get some corporate sponsorship, and go out there and do it. I have that attitude that like, if all they want me to do is show up and run, I can show up and run.
Yeah.
So I think that's a huge, huge like dream goal of mine. I want to get some more 100-mile buckles so I can qualify to apply to Badwater. Another shout out to Lori because she's a Badwater finisher, and I was privileged enough to be a crew member and get an experience out there. Mm-hmm. I remember jumping out of the van at my first pacing duty. It was so hot. There were flies biting me. My feet were burning. My skin felt like it was burning. And I'm looking at my watch and I'm not even at like mile 1.3. And I'm like, you better not complain. You better not complain because she has like 80 miles on her legs and she's not complaining. So it's such an amazing event. I love the heat. So to be out there and be able to compete at the world's toughest foot race, like everybody knows about it. It's such a huge challenge. You see these people just like pushing the limits, and that's what I love so much. And even if you never do an ultra marathon, even if I remember one time I had a coworker and she was a former Division I runner, competed at a very high level, and she probably would never do anything longer than a 5K or a 10K. But she said something one day. She was like, I really don't like when people say, well, have you done the New York Marathon? Have you done the Boston Marathon? Like, you can't tie a distance to whether or not you're a runner or not. Mm-hmm. She runs way faster than me, way more consistent, loves running. It's part of her identity, part of her life, but she'll never do more than 6 miles probably. So I've really opened up my eyes to the community, to the sport. When I first started running and training, I didn't even know what an 800 was, so there's just so many pieces. And just because you're an ultra runner doesn't mean that you're any better. And not that people act like this, but I'm speaking freely. Like a 5K runner is just as excited and works just as hard as somebody that's going out and training for an ultra. And that's the other cool thing about the community. There's just so many places where you can find a place to kind of, call your home and chase down personal goals. And the coolest part about like me having the opportunity to build a community and hold the local event is you get people that have never run before that are like, I want to do the Panda Posse 5K. I want to do the Run Roadie. I want to do the Monster Dash 5K. I want to do this event. How do I do it? Like, I need to start running. I'm going to do a mile, and have like families that like mom and daughter teams or husband and wife teams that have never done this before that are now training for their first 5K because of meeting somebody like Tara, meeting somebody like myself. If we can do it, they can do it. So that's what's really cool is it's just like in sobriety. You want to celebrate the newcomers. So I'm so pumped up that I'm still able to do this. And then I'm able to kind of open doors and hold hands for some newcomers. And I never want to lose the gratitude of that role that people look at me as like, I look at people as like OGs in the game that have been doing this for years. You've heard me on Insta and I'm screaming, I'm not the strongest, I'm not the fastest, I haven't been doing this the longest, but positivity plus gratitude, you know what the song is. Like there's so many people that have been doing this for so long. And I learned so much from them. And to have people look at me as somebody that they can learn from is a gift in itself.
One of the things that I really like about you and about other kind of social media influencers who are runners nowadays, you see a lot of positivity. You see a lot of inclusivity, people encouraging new runners and encouraging slower runners and faster runners and people who run a mile, people who run 100 miles. And I feel like that is like the best thing about social media nowadays, because when I first started running, it was so different. Like social media was not what it is now. And I feel like there was way more negativity. It was like a lot of snobbery when it came to running. Like I would see a lot of people on like Runner's World posts be like, oh, if you can't run a sub-4 marathon, you're not a runner. Like it just be all this like negative bullshit. And nowadays I feel like within the last like 5 years, especially, just there's been so much more accounts, more people out there who are willing to be like, hey, I'm slow and I still do it. Or I only run a mile and I consider myself a runner, or I'm a bigger runner. And it's like, you see so much more of that. Whereas, when I first started, people would be like, well, you don't look like a runner, or, oh, you're not fast, so you're not a runner. And I really appreciate, people like you that bring people together.
I appreciate you saying that. And it took me years to realize. So my first experience was a local half marathon. And once again, to tie into the sobriety stuff, I was coming out of being incarcerated. So I was in jail, got out, wanted to stay clean. My partner at the time signed me up for a local half marathon, knowing that I had this dream of like running a marathon, but didn't really know the magnitude of it. So I was like, let's start with the half. And I run this local half marathon, not knowing anything about the community. And I received so much acceptance and positive feedback that's where like the high fives and positive vibes was born. And throughout my first couple of years of running, so this was 2014 and 15, I never experienced any negative happenings where like, because of my income level, because of the color of my skin, because of like the type of car I drove, because I'm a 9-minute guy or an 8-minute guy or a 7:45 guy, I never received any judgment in a negative way. And I want to continue that. I know that especially with social media, there are people that say, well, he runs a 6-hour marathon, that shouldn't count. Or she runs, she's only like, there should be no negativity, and we have to continue celebrating the all races, the all paces, all races. And I'm not being ignorant. I know people have experienced negative stuff when it comes to, discrimination and so forth. And that's why I take pride in my role to be like, hey, I'm somebody that can relate to being a person of color. I'm somebody that can relate to coming from different social economic backgrounds. And I never had, now don't get me wrong, that's the other piece. Like, running is a free sport, but not everything is accessible. Not everybody can afford to take a week off from work and get a flight and get a hotel and do these world major things. Even if you qualify, even if you're somebody that qualifies for a marathon, you might be stressed or upset about how you're going to make this happen. So I never want to be ignorant to that, but we need to celebrate the fact that it's a gift. Everybody's welcome. You may not like some of the rules and qualifications, but if you continue to love and respect those rules and qualifications, you can really, really find joy in this community. And if somebody's getting up and running, 10 miles at a 15-minute pace, that's badass. Like that, there's nothing negative to say about that. We need to celebrate everybody because there's so many other things they could be doing than, trying to better themselves. And with me, I've never been super fast, and I love that you brought that up because we need to celebrate everybody. Because we're all cool. We all have cool stories. You know what I mean? You don't sign up for a marathon or a half marathon or a 5K or a 10K because you don't love it, because you don't want to be around your friends, because you don't want to like get off the couch. There's so many positive pieces to celebrate. And that's why I'll never stop being the cheerleader. One time, I'm always all over the place and off track. But one time I'm at this local race and it's like mile 1 of the half marathon, and I'm yelling my mantra like 13.1 for breakfast, or let's go, 13.1 for breakfast, we got this. And I overheard somebody, and they were like, "Oh, look at this guy! I'd like to see him at mile 11 and see if he's still screaming, right?" So it's like mile 11 and I'm still screaming and I'm still passing out high fives and everything. So after the race, the guy comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, I just want to let you know, I might have come across as like, a jerk, but he's like, I'm not. I think you're really cool. He's like, I just didn't think you were going to have that kind of energy, for 13 miles. And he's like, you proved me wrong. He's like, it's really cool that you're out there cheering for everybody. And now we're friends on Facebook. He does he's much older than me. He does a ton of races. And it was just so cool to have him like kind of, I love the recognition, obviously, but I'm rewarded as well. When I see, like, I love like the out and back races when you see like the super fast people coming towards you, and I'm yelling at them and trying to give them high fives. And don't get me wrong, some people are just locked in and they don't want a high five and they don't want to be yelled at. But to have somebody come up to you after the race and be like, man, your energy is nuts. Like, I only had 3 miles left and I didn't know how I was going to do it. And you're yelling at me to don't quit and to go get it. And you're yelling all these crazy things like good money. And he's like, I love it. I love it. Like, I want more of it. So that fires me up. And yeah, it takes a lot of energy when you're in a race and you're yelling and screaming. And I used to get this all the time. Like, don't you know you'd run faster if you weren't yelling and screaming and passing out high five? But I'm not going to win the thing. I'm not going to win the marathon. I'm not going to win the half marathon. And there was a time where like I was locked in and went for a marathon PR and didn't do any screaming and yelling. And I got the PR. So I celebrated that day. I celebrated being locked in, but 99% of the time, I'm going to be the guy yelling and screaming and passing out high fives.
I want a high five. Can I get a high five?
Who is this? Who invited this guy?
Who's
awesome.
this guy?
You know what?
I didn't send you the link.
We talked about Mount Washington.
Who let you in?
I want to know.
Yeah.
Tara, how are you not in bed right now? It's 8:15 p.m.
He stayed up late for me.
I'm not.
Yeah.
It's because it's Mo.
I'd stay up till midnight for Mo.
Yeah, you stay up all night for Mo.
Stay up 24 hours.
Oh,
24 hours.
Hey, I tuned in a little while. I've been listening. This has been fun. I was in producer mode, but I wanted to come on because, Mo, I'm looking at your T-shirt, and it made me think of something. I want to break news on the recap. Can we break
I
news
know
on
the
recap?
news.
Yes?
Mo, what are you doing on September 18th? That's a Thursday night.
Going to see you.
That's right, because we're going to do a live show at 7 p.m. Marathon Sports, Manchester, New Hampshire, in front of a crowd. It is official. If I had the boo, 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 boo button right now, I would do the button.
Get the balloons.
But we're going
You
to
got
have
the
a
balloons
live
from
show.
Mo.
It might be posted by now on social media, but it hasn't been announced on the pod. I know I've been telling a lot of people, save the date, but I haven't told people what the deal is. But yeah.
Let's go.
There's going to be a run club there on that Thursday night. And after the run club, we're doing a live show. There's going to be pizza. There's going to be a Saucony shoe demo. I think UCAN's going to be there. We're going to maybe have some raffle giveaways, like fundraising raffles. So like, you pay a few dollars for a ticket, goes towards marathon fundraising. We're working out those details. Got to find out if we can do it legally. Lots of official stuff that happens when you plan a live show with another brand and company. So, it's been big news. I've been teasing. I'm finally able to announce it.
I love it.
So excited.
I love it. I can't wait for it. I'll be there.
And you know what's funny, Tara? They asked, Erica goes, should we have headphones on? And I go, I might. And then I go, actually, that might look silly the way it will be set up. We'll talk about that later. I said, but I might have Tara behind a curtain with headphones in the mixer to make sure it sounds good. And then I'm like, I don't know if she'll like that because then she won't get to actually watch. She'll just be listening behind a curtain.
Listen, if I have to stay up past 7 o'clock, I want to be seen. People need to know I'm there. Okay.
That's true. That's true. So it's going to be less than an hour. It's about we have a couple guests. I'm not going to announce our guests yet, just in case it hasn't been announced on social media yet. But they're local New Hampshire coaches. I'll tell you that. And we're going to talk marathon training plans, and also like the lead up to your marathon, like the taper, race day strategy, and then that will be like 30 minutes, and then we're going to have a time for a Q&A and pictures for whoever wants to take them with Erica because she's much prettier than I am.
Can we do autographs too?
Wow. You know what's funny is I've only been asked for an autograph once in my life. and it has nothing to do with podcasts, but whenever I hear that, it makes me think of it. I was in Daytona working NASCAR. I had some equipment. I had a pit crew gun, actually, and I wasn't even the tire changer. I was the jack man, and I was just carrying some stuff over, and this little kid asked me for an autograph, and I laughed, and I go, because I have like an official shirt on. I go, I'm nobody. And then after that, I was like, you know what? Damn,
You're somebody.
I wish I signed it. Like, why did I?
You didn't. You should have.
I laughed and I go, oh, dude, I'm not anybody special. And the dad goes, are you just a pit crew? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just a pit crew. But you know what? That might have been my first ever race. It was my first ever race, or it was the first race of the next year. I can't remember. But yeah, I was asked for an autograph once when I worked in NASCAR. Why didn't I do it? I don't know. But hey,
wait, can you imagine if that kid listens to On the Runs now?
Yeah.
He's going to call in when you have a live show.
Yeah. I highly doubt that. But I'm excited that you guys had Mo on. Like, I think this is exactly the foundation that the two of you wanted to build with this. Originally, I don't even know if we spoke about it. I thought the recap was going to be talk about our past 4 episodes, what went on in the last month, and said you two wanted to go back into like deep into the archives and find our old PodFam who hasn't been on in a while. And I love it.
Yep.
I'm grateful to be on here with all of y'all.
Yeah,
we are so grateful that you joined us.
I can't wait to edit it because I've only heard the last 15 minutes. I can't wait to hear everything. And...
Oh, I gave you a Code Brown shout out.
Yeah. We got a Code Brown from Mo.
Got a Code Brown from.
That's a good one.
Nice.
Actually,
the first few minutes are kind of a disaster. Sorry.
Well, hey,
surprise!
It's a disaster. Erica and I had a disaster the other day with our recording, and it was on my end. The internet on my end, for some reason, was so bad. I ended up turning my computer off, recording it from my phone for part of it, and then I restarted my computer, and all was good for the next guest. The next one was Mike. I'm not going to give away our guest that we recorded with. That was a disaster, but I'll tell you what. There's a restaurant named after her.
Okay.
Oh, I know who it is.
That's a clue.
Okay.
Also a drink.
All right.
A drink. Yeah.
Okay.
That's really giving it away. Local New Hampshire runners would know, but Mo, this is so cool. I'm going to let the girls finish up here. And I just want to say, hey, girls, I know you're taking a break because Tara's in golf season, so you won't be back, I think, till November. But the two of you kicked ass this year. You absolutely is this number 9?
That's a great question.
I think this is.
Did I said 9, right?
So you're slightly above once a month on average, and the goal was 1 a month.
Yeah.
Way to go, girls.
Yeah,
Great job. I think
we're dropping stools left and right.
Yeah.
Just dropping the samples.
Well, hey, good luck with your coaching season. I won't pressure you to do anything until Thanksgiving and then the Christmas special. And Mo, I'll see you on the 18th.
I'll see you on the 18th.
You guys are awesome. Thanks,
boss.
Thanks, Eric.
Bye, boss.
Hey, have fun the rest of the episode. Don't say anything mean about me, but talk all the shit on Erica that you want.
Never.
No, Erica's too nice.
I just went running with her too. She's the best. I love her too. You guys are awesome. Thank you for making this dream come true. I'll talk to you later, Mo.
Thanks.
I love you.
Love you, Eric.
Bye.
Aww.
Bye, Eric.
Bye, Eric.
So actually, Mo, we're an hour in. So we're probably going to... What do you have planned after Chicago? Let's wrap it up with that. So what do you have going on after?
The rest of 2025? What are we doing?
I'd love to sneak in another ultra, but that might be, a little unrealistic. So the next big goal would be May of 2026, possibly the Keys 100 or a return to Riverlands 100, where I am 0 for 2. I ran 84 miles, I think, both years before getting timed out. So I love that race. I think they said 26 is going to be the last year. So I'd love to see myself return to that race. It's in Turner, Maine. It's super technical. It's a 25-mile loop 4 times, and I want the buckle there or the Keys because I just love the heat. I love the flat pavement. So another 100-mile race is on the agenda after Chicago. So the training would shift towards that. Strength training's going great. Yoga's going great. Work is going great. If anybody can, check out my fundraiser. The link is in my bio, not to sound corny.
Where can people find you?
No, nothing corny about it.
Marathon Panda Maurice, running these streets on Instagram.
Yes, if you don't follow him, you live under a rock. But
he's basically the only account you need to follow.
Seriously.
You need to, just for all the positivity.
I appreciate the hype.
Yes.
Yeah,
you're wonderful.
I try to keep the positivity and hype posts coming, even now not being able to run for the next week or so. I try to stay pretty consistent with the posting. So shout out to Marathon Sports and Lululemon and Fern Project for believing in me, believing in my vision, and just letting me be, an ambassador. I'm also part of Team Runner, so I got to give them a shout out. The app is awesome. It's check it out. You can use my code, and I sometimes I feel silly saying stuff like that, like use my code and stuff, but it's so cool to have a little role and be hooked up with these legit brands that believe in you.
Yeah. Lululemon, that's huge. I'm wearing some Lulu right now.
Yeah.
I rocked the brand for so many years before I got the role, and they're so awesome. They show up to all of my events, and they give me gear for my events. It's just such a cool opportunity. When they approached me, they were like, "We literally just want you to just keep doing what you're doing, to be the positive, consistent guy that you are." Stay tuned.
The brands that you want to work with, because they don't want to change you. They just want you to keep doing what you're doing and give them a little love.
So if you told me 10 years ago that I'd be hooking up with brands on any level, it was it was just not reality. So to have that opportunity, stay tuned, because I am planning another Panda Posse, and it will be in Providence. You'll have plenty of heads up that you can come down.
Yeah.
It'll be a local 5K or 10K. That's a fun run with shirts and snacks and all that good stuff. So just make sure you stay tuned for that.
We're gonna manifest a pod
I'm making that happen
to Providence.
Yeah.
We're doing it. Eric, we're gonna expense this on the company, okay?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
all right.
Mo,
well, thank you so much for joining us, Mo. It was awesome.
High fives and positive vibes, and just remember that no matter what darkness you're facing, you can make it to the light if you just make positive changes consistently. Believe in yourself, ask for help, all that good stuff.
Amen. Awesome.
Thank you, Mo.
All right. Thanks, Mo. Hopefully we'll see you soon.
Yeah.
On the streets.
Yeah, see you next month.
All right.
Yeah. Well, that was an awesome episode. I've been wanting to hear what Mo's been up to since he was on the runs, and since we saw him at the Boston Marathon.
Yeah, he's been on a couple other people's podcasts, and he always shares them, and I listen to them because he just has a way with words. He's such a great speaker, and his story is just so inspiring. And I could just, I listen. I mean, he tells his story and it's the same story, but he tells it on different podcasts, and I listen to all of them, and he's just awesome. He's such a cool dude. He really is. I'm grateful that we were able to meet him through this podcast, at least me and social media and stuff. And, I can call him a friend. So that's awesome.
Well, no. And it's also just nice to listen to someone be so positive despite everything they've been through. And then it makes me think about the things I've been through. And I'm like, gosh, I'm such a baby.
Right. Perspective, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. He's definitely changed a lot of people's lives. And, he's influenced me because, again, like I said, I always use that line, we get to do this. It's I'm not, I don't have to be out here, but I am because I'm able, and, it's just, again, perspective. So
I feel like this is adding fire to my...
Yes.
I've been on such a slump. Yeah.
You know what you do? Just go to Mo's Instagram and just keep scrolling, count to 20, and then watch every single video. and he's
That's totally what I'm going to do.
He's like the positive Goggins. He really is.
He's the nice Goggins.
Yeah, he's the nice Goggins. You'll be running out the house, running a marathon in no time. So we do need to mention some sponsors. So we've got Right Socks, and My Race Tats, and they've been donating proceeds to Eric and Erica's marathon charities, which is awesome.
Yep. 15% of the sales, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So go check those guys out. Get some socks, some tats. I actually have both. I bought some tattoos. They're awesome. Socks are super comfy.
The socks are amazing.
And then...
You will not be disappointed.
No, not at all. And then check us out on social media. Follow us on Instagram. Facebook, but that's for old people. We're old.
YouTube.
Well, I'm old, according to Adeline.
TikTok.
YouTube,
if you're old,
TikTok.
then I'm much older now.
And then
YouTube, TikTok,
be a Patreon. Be a Patreon. Support us. Because this is fun. I love doing this.
It's so much. It is the best.
It's so great. I love being a part of this. I really do. I mean, it's 8:30 and I'm awake. That's how much I love this.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for joining us for sample 9, which I think we said sample 8.
Go with sample 9. Yep.
We'll go with boss,
10 big
with boss man.
Digits.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to get balloons.
We'll have on, we'll bring Bex on. I'm sure she'll just answer my emails.
Totally. Absolutely.
So.
Yeah. So have a good night, guys.
Yes.
And remember,
never, ever trust a fart.
and don't forget your butt wipes.
All right.
Good night, guys. Maybe, but
I don't want to.
Eric can cut out this.
I don't want to mess it up. He'll know. Oh.
Don't cut that out. I don't know what that was.
I don't know. I don't know what Mo's doing right now. Are we in the bathroom with him?
Do you need help, dude?
What kind of podcast is this?
Protein shake or that drop.
Protein shake. Okay.